Welcome to the debate, presented by the Global WarWatch Network. We're looking at a Middle East that finds itself at a truly pivotal moment.
Absolutely. Saudi Arabia just signed a mutual defense pact with nuclear-armed Pakistan, and it comes right after Israel's shocking strike on Qatar. The immediate question is stark. Is the Middle East genuinely on the brink of a wider war as a direct consequence of this new pact?
That's the core issue. From my perspective, this agreement represents a calculated, frankly, necessary, strategic move. It's aimed at enhancing regional security and, crucially, deterrence in what's become an incredibly volatile environment.
My assessment diverges quite significantly there. While I certainly agree the region is volatile, I see this pact as a really dangerous miscalculation. It seems fraught with inherent risks and, frankly, questionable effectiveness. I think far from stabilizing things, it could actually push an already tense Middle East closer to a wider conflict, not deter one.
Well, let me lay out why I see it differently. Saudi Arabia's decision to formalize this mutual defense pact with Pakistan is, in my view, a logical and pretty firm response to the undeniable escalation we're seeing in regional instability. You just have to consider Israel's sprawling military offensive since October 7, 2023, across multiple nations, now culminating in this strike on Qatar. The pact's core clause, it's unambiguous. Any aggression against either country shall be considered an aggression against both. That sends a clear, explicit deterrent signal to any potential adversaries. And look, this isn't some brand new partnership conjured out of thin air. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan share deep, decades-long economic, religious, and security ties. We even know this relationship included Saudi financial support for Pakistan's nuclear weapons program in the past. So, leveraging Pakistan's nuclear capabilities, we're talking an estimated 170 warheads, with delivery systems that can reach targets across the Middle East. Well, that provides a potent and immediate deterrent to protect Saudi interests and, by extension, contribute to regional stability.
I interpret this situation very differently, leading me to profound skepticism about the, let's say, strategic wisdom and the actual defensive value of the Saudi decision. It just strikes me as a highly risky gambit, not some calculated safeguard. We really have to question the genuine reliability and effectiveness of Pakistan as a security guarantor here. I mean, seriously, Pakistan has its own incredibly complex national interests, significant domestic challenges, and let's not forget, its nuclear doctrine is primarily aimed squarely at India, which, not incidentally, possesses around 172 warheads itself. So the idea that this pact, rather than stabilizing, could significantly increase the risk of Saudi Arabia being dragged into Pakistan's own regional conflicts, or maybe more critically, escalating the existing tensions with Israel and Iran, that's a very real concern. You could easily see this leading to unintended wider confrontations. Look, just formalizing an alliance with a nuclear power doesn't automatically grant you immediate, credible defense against sophisticated military threats, especially when you think about the practical difficulties of actually deploying such a deterrent in a swift, localized conflict. It feels more symbolic than substantive in some ways.
Okay, point one then. Strategic intent versus practical deterrence right now.
Exactly. While the timing of the pact certainly suggests it's reactive to Israel's Qatar strike, I'm still seriously questioning its immediate practical deterrent value, particularly against an actor like Israel, which has already shown it can conduct a sprawling offensive across multiple nations. Former U.S. diplomat Zalmay Khalilzad noted this agreement comes in dangerous times. I agree. But what concrete, immediate defensive advantages does Pakistan genuinely offer Saudi Arabia that truly counters, say, sophisticated ballistic missile strikes, especially ones launched from the Red Sea? It's just difficult to really envision a direct, effective countermeasure from Pakistan in that kind of rapid, localized scenario. How does that work practically speaking?
I think that perspective misses a crucial element. The pact isn't merely reactive. It's a formalization and elevation of a security relationship that's been there for a very long time. The historical context is vital. We've mentioned the Saudi financial support for Pakistan's nuclear program. But we've also seen joint military exercises. Remember Al-Sam 5 back in 2015? That demonstrates a pre-existing operational alignment that goes far beyond just rhetorical support. So this explicit mutual defense clause, now clearly backed by Pakistan's acknowledged nuclear status and its ballistic missile capabilities, it sends an undeniable message to any potential aggressor. This signifies a really significant shift in the regional power dynamics. It's designed to impose a much higher cost on any potential offensive action against Saudi interests, making the consequences far more severe and, importantly, unpredictable for the aggressor.
Which brings us to point 2, the efficacy and, frankly, the reliability of this supposed Pakistani nuclear umbrella. My analysis leads me to a different place. I mean, can Saudi Arabia genuinely rely on Pakistan for protection when the stakes are this high? Let's be blunt, Pakistan's national priorities are quite understandably centered on its own security, particularly concerning India. Their nuclear program's primary focus is countering that specific threat. Now, we're talking about mutual defense in a nuclear context. Are we supposed to just believe in trust here, when the primary strategic concerns of one party are geographically and politically pretty distinct from the other? Is it actually pragmatic to expect Pakistan to fully commit its nuclear forces to defend Saudi Arabia, potentially inviting devastating retaliation from other powers? Or is this alliance mostly just, rhetorical window dressing? Thinking that a defense relationship from the 1960s, yes, Pakistani troops were in Saudi Arabia during Egypt's war in Yemen, somehow translates to modern strategic deterrence against advanced ballistic missile threats. Well, that seems like a huge leap in capability and, maybe more importantly, in willingness in today's world. It almost sounds laughable, the reliance, doesn't it?
That's an interesting point, though. I would frame it differently. I think that assessment underestimates the historical depth here. This relationship stems from Pakistan's consistent willingness to defend the Islamic holy sites, Mecca and Medina. And it strengthened significantly after Iran's 1979 revolution, when Saudi fears about Tehran really intensified. Think about that 2007 U.S. diplomatic cable, the one published by WikiLeaks, where Pakistani diplomats apparently suggested Saudi Arabia as a regional physical protector. Now, that indicates a deep-seated mutual understanding of a shared strategic imperative that goes way beyond just transactional interests. So this pact, it formalizes and operationalizes this existing, if previously informal, security alignment. It's not about suddenly establishing some new unproven trust. It's about giving clear articulation to a long-understood reciprocal commitment, elevating that historical understanding to a legal binding agreement.
Okay, let's move to the third point. The implications for nuclear proliferation and broader regional stability, especially concerning Iran and India. I find myself pretty unconvinced by the argument that this doesn't raise proliferation concerns. That Saudi official statement to the Financial Times about utilizing all defensive and military means deemed necessary, well, that strongly implies extending Pakistan's nuclear umbrella, doesn't it? This raises serious proliferation worries, especially given Saudi Arabia is a member of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, the NPT, which, let's remember, commits non-nuclear states not to develop or acquire nuclear weapons. It feels like a dangerous signal, particularly when you factor in Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's past assertion that Saudi Arabia would pursue nuclear weapons if Iran did. This pact seems to add another layer to that potential ambition, even if indirectly. And we've already seen India's foreign ministry acknowledge the pact, stating it will study the implications for our national security as well as for regional and global stability. To me, this move appears to heighten, not diminish, regional anxieties and the potential for a really dangerous arms race.
I'd frame the implications differently, though. The pact is clearly defined. Its language is about mutual defense and joint deterrence. It is not an explicit nuclear sharing agreement, nor is it automatically a violation of Saudi Arabia's NPT commitments. You could argue this agreement signals Saudi Arabia's resolve in a region where Israel is widely assumed to possess nuclear weapons, and Iran is actively developing its atomic program. So from this perspective, it's actually a balancing act, maybe designed to restore some sense of equilibrium. And it's also worth noting the careful diplomacy surrounding this. That visit by Iran's Ali Larijani to Saudi Arabia before the pact was signed, that could indicate an attempt by Saudi Arabia to manage regional sensitivities, maybe communicate its intentions within its existing détente with Iran, the recent efforts to lower tensions between Riyadh and Tehran. It doesn't necessarily have to be solely provocative. And let's not forget, Saudi Arabia also maintains close ties with India, which suggests a more nuanced foreign policy approach than simply an escalatory one.
Okay.
So to summarize my position, I reaffirm that this mutual defense pact represents a significant, considered strategic decision by Saudi Arabia. It's designed to fortify its security posture and establish robust deterrence, especially after that strike on Qatar, in what is an increasingly complex and dangerous Middle East. It leverages established alliances and capabilities to assert its interests and ultimately promote stability through strength.
And conversely, I'd underscore the formidable risks that come with this pact. There remain really serious questions about its true effectiveness as a deterrent, about Pakistan's genuine reliability as a guarantor when the chips are truly down, and the undeniable potential for severe, unintended regional escalation, particularly regarding nuclear proliferation. I worry this move might inadvertently exacerbate instability rather than actually enhance security.
Indeed. The profound complexity of this development and its potentially far-reaching implications for the Middle East and well beyond are undeniable.
Absolutely. The future path of regional stability, or indeed instability, really remains to be seen. It emphasizes the ongoing need to keep analyzing these unfolding dynamics very closely.
Well said. Thank you for joining us for this discussion on The Debate.
Yes, we appreciate your time and participation in exploring these critical issues with us.
If you found this conversation insightful, please do like, share, and subscribe to the Global WarWatch Network.
And we encourage you to share your own thoughts and perspectives down in the comments section below. Also join us on our social media platforms. You'll find all the links provided in the description.